Alright, you and I both know what you want. You want to die in... You may be wondering how I came to this conclusion, but it's rather simple. I was on stream trying to get 100 versus battles to unlock item switch in the N64 Smash Bros. After doing this for a while, I realized nobody has gone through every single Smash Bros. Game and every single stage to test what is the best stage to SD on. So I did it for you. You're welcome. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty details here. How did I do it? Simply put, I played Smash 64, Melee, Brawl, Smash 4 on the Wii U and the 3DS, and, of course, Smash Bros. Ultimate. However, to keep things as fair as possible and as fast as possible for me and for you, I decided to play as Captain Falcon. Yes! Captain Falcon is in every single Smash Bros. And he typically has some of the fastest running speed and fastest falling speed in the game. And that's really what we're looking for here. How quickly can you die? How easy is it to die, aka how many inputs are you doing? Are you doing one to the right, one down? That's 2 inputs to make it quick. And the reason why I bring this up is because I'm putting all of the stages on a tier list. Let's freaking go! Some of it will be subjective, like the difference between an A and a B tier, but for the most part, I try to keep it within these guidelines. Now, without further ado, it's time for me to kill myself in Smash Brothers. Peach's Castle starts you off on this bridge. If you're quick enough, you can move to the left and fast fall to avoid landing on this bridge under here. B tier. The blast zone is a bit far away. Congo Jungle puts you right at the ledge so you can quickly commit the life-ending combo of left and down. A tier. Hyrule Castle starts you on the middlemost ground platform. You move left, dash again on the lower platform, and then you can fast fall with Explosive Grace. B tier. Planet Zeeb starts to show how normal stage hazards can be a problem. You cannot fall down fast enough to avoid the lava. It is simply impossible. And here's where things get interesting. You can technically get past the lava by turning into a rock as Kirby, but this is where we introduce another rule. If you have to use a special ability from a character, then the stage is suboptimal for SDing. Especially if you care about character records, you might like Kirby and you don't want him to show up as having 100 SDs as opposed to Yoshi, who deserves to die. Given the restrictions and the effort required to SD on this stage, this will be a D tier. The Mushroom Kingdom has 2 effective options. Either drop down from the starting platform until you get into the pit, or dash left until you're off screen. Either way, it requires you to exhibit brain power and use a few inputs. B tier. If you land on the middle platforms on accident, that just wastes some of your time. Try and go for the left if possible. Yoshi's Story starts you somewhere in the middle of the bottommost platform. Just dash right and down and you're good to go. A tier. Dreamland, similar to Yoshi's Island, takes a smidge bit longer. A tier. Corneria. Nah fam. You not only have to run a ways out, but you then have a super long fall. C tier. Saffron City. You start in this box here and it only makes sense that you should run and fast fall right. Most likely though, you are going to catch this ledge. Terrible. Why does it delay the inevitable demise that you so desire? C tier.
Super Smash Brothers Melee!
Moving on to Smash Bros. Melee, we have a ton of new stages. Let's start with Icicle Mountain is a stage known for moving up and letting many younger brothers fail the Can You Jump challenge. In this case, that doesn't matter. You start on the left and you just have to sprint left twice, or sometimes you just sprint left once. B tier. Shoot, you could also not do anything and it will get you killed, but it takes a little bit of time for that to happen and the randomness does detract from the stage, so again, it's going to remain in B tier. Princess Peach's Castle offers a simple dive left to die, and the blast zone is close enough that spawning on the platform doesn't matter too much. A tier. Congo Falls has a platform to the right which you can latch onto if you go too far, but otherwise it's not bad. B tier. Great Bay has a 2-platform walk-off. Blast zone is pretty close, and you don't swim in this water. B tier. Yoshi's Story is a 1-platform walk-off, and yes, Randall is not far enough out that you can land on him. A tier. Fountain of Dreams has a surprisingly low blast zone, but it barely makes a difference with its mostly one platform walk-off. I'm putting in B tier just to be safe. Corneria rears its ugly head once again. It's another long walk with a second platform this time, but the blast zone is much closer, making it better than in Smash 64, B tier. Flat Zone offers one of the closest blast zones in the entire game, and you only have to walk to the left a tiny ways to get there, S tier. Rainbow Cruise to your death as you have a one platform walk off. An up close and personal blast zone helps a lot too, A tier. Jungle Japes has water, but it does not help you float up. The Croc also doesn't seem to show up quickly enough, but it would push you down if it could, A tier. Temple is not SD friendly. Instead, it has an obstacle immediately to your left, meaning you have to press the jump button, and the fastest way to die is by going to the left instead of down, meaning you will likely have to jump more, C tier. Yoshi's Island has these blocks in the center that you can break. I'm going to tell you now, ignore them, just run left for an extended dive off, B tier. Green seems good at first, but it offers an interesting RNG element. These blocks spawn, which make it so you have to jump or break them, and sometimes a bomb will be present, making it difficult to break them and quickly SD, so it's recommended just jump and run, C tier. Venom is a longer walk-off with a blast zone that is close to the bottom of the ship. Too bad you start at the top, B tier. Brinstar offers an extremely nice walk-off, but with a blast zone that stretches a ways down. It's much better than in Smash 64, but that fall will still take a little bit of time, B tier. On It requires you to jump and then run off. Admittedly, it is close, but that jump is annoying, C tier. Mute City has the best soundtrack in the game, don't at me. Also, it's a dive off with a close blast zone, A tier. Pokemon Stadium has decided to spawn you on the middle platforms, which waste your time. 2 taps left and 1 tap down will lead you to your doom, B tier. Mushroom Kingdom fixes the platform issue by having them much higher up. Jump in the pit, why don't ya? I'm still putting this in B tier though, since you can grab the ledge if you don't fast fall in the pit, and the runoff takes a bit. Brinstar Depths, known for getting a lot of people killed by the map rotation, is now, alright. It's a long fall, but it's a one-way walk, B tier. Foreside. You won't have the trippy effects from the original game, but you can trip and fall into the right or left pit. Another long fall leads this to be a B tier. Big Blue has no big boo-boos. Instead, you just need to run left. The bottom platform will actually help you perish. Also, I never landed on the cars with all of my testing, so if that happens to you, how? A tier. Pokey Floats. You spawn on Squirtle's arm and he drops you into the void, A tier. Mushroom Kingdom 2 has to have the closest blast zone for a drop down. I'm putting this into S tier. It's insanely fast. Battlefield is comp viable and is unintentionally very SD viable, but for intentionally tightening the rope, it starts you in the middle, B tier. Final Destination is pretty, but I pretty much don't care when the drop is this long, B tier. Dreamland is back and it doesn't want to let you go. It spawns you in the middle, making the run out longer, B tier. Yoshi's Story spawns you up above. It's a one platform walk off and it isn't too high, A tier. Congo Jungle is back and it got the memo. Make the blast zones farther away and oh wait, spawn you near the ledge, A tier. Thank you, Congo Jungle. That's all of Smash Bros. Melee. 2 S tiers make this a surprisingly good showing so far. Let's see if we can find any new ones in Brawl. A couple of things to note with Brawl before we dash to our deaths. This is where randomized spawns start to occur in the series. This means you can start in one of 2 locations when it comes to 1v1 battles. It also means that a particular stage will have starting variations which will change how it's ranked. Now, let's hop off into Battlefield. Spawns you on this platform, but the time it takes to die is a little less, A tier. Final Destination is the same as before, but the blast zone is closer, A tier. Delfino Plaza spawns you low, so it's time to sleep with the fishes, A tier. Luigi's Mansion is so spooky that I decided to kill myself and join the haunted specters. You spawn low to make this goal easier, A tier. Mushroom Kingdom is an auto-scroller. If you're in 1-1, you can run left or right with no issues. If you spawn underground in 1-2, then you either have to scale this wall and run off, or you have to jump and run right. This is a mix-up stage, but the fact you have to pay more attention and enact a plan with whatever character you want to play as means this is going into D tier. A case could be made for C tier, but D tier seems fine. Mario Circuit is similar to the Flat Zone from earlier, but the runoff takes a smidge longer, S tier. Rumble Falls is Mario Circuit, but you can stand still doing nothing to die if you want, S tier. Bridge of Eldin will have a hole in the middle of the bridge later on, but you're not here to wait, so run to the right or left for a while to reach the blast zone, B tier. Pirate Ship is horrible. The sea does not wish to sink you to Davy Jones' locker unless you swim for too long or you get hit by the front of the boat. Otherwise, you should just jump all the way to the left or right, C tier. Norfair lets you die by falling down or going right or left. It takes a bit to boil alive, B tier. Frigate Orpheon has some randomness again, but it's just a run to either edge to fall down, B tier. Yoshi's Island is a one platform fall, A tier. Halberd offers you a nice run to the edges of the screen. How considerate. You cannot wait to die, unlike other moving maps, sadly, B tier. Light Cruise starts you off on the upper platform, but the blast zone is close. If you were on the bottom platform, this might be S tier viable, but I'm going to put it into A tier. Pokemon Stadium 2 is a 2-platform descent to the Pokemon Center, B tier. Spear Pillar spawns you up high and takes a while for you to fall into your own spear, B tier. Port Town Arrow Dive ruins what made Mute City great by having the stage actively harm your ability to harm yourself. It's similar to Planet Zeb's from N64, but the blast zones on the edges are much closer and you can die from the bottom in certain spots, C tier. Castle Siege is not comfortable, which is convenient for us. It has a long fall though, B tier. WarioWare has no fun and steep minigame, so I'm leaving. Decent fall, A tier. Distant Planet is unique in that you can run right and fall off to make your inevitable demise easier for both spawns, but if you're on the left, it's faster to run left, A tier since you can turn your brain off easier if you wish. Smashville is a stage I hate, but it's dang good for ending your existence, A tier. New Pork City spawns you in a horrible spot, which requires a long run in either direction. It's easier to die on the right if you jump, and the RNG aspect does not help this stage's case, D tier. Summit is a fun moving stage most of the time, but it spawns you near the top of the summit. Good for broken bones, not for SDing in a Smash game, B tier. Skyworld is an appropriate name since you start up pretty high, the RNG either makes it shorter or longer depending on which platform you get, and the fall is already decently long, B tier. 75M is how far you have to run to perish. The spawns don't detract from the kill time in any significant way, A tier. Mario Bros is simple in that you just run to the edge. It's also a shorter run than a lot of other walk-off stages in this game, A tier. Flat Zone 2 makes the blast zone slightly farther away, but still a great choice, A tier. Pictochat has a deceptively low blast zone. It could have been S tier, but sadly it's too far down. Also, if you're not fast enough, a spring can spawn, but if you're not SDing quickly, that might be your fault, A tier. Hannonbow has a fun gimmick, which we're going to skip like tadpoles skip on water. It's a run and fall, A tier. Shadow Moses Island takes a very long time to die on. Sure, you could go Jigglypuff and have your shield pop, but that's a similar issue to Planet Zeb's and Smash 64. You must break these pillars instead to run to your untimely demise, F tier. Green Hill Zone is a runoff that takes a minute. Play Sonic on the stage, A tier. Temple is back, and it's worse now because you spawn farther away from the edges. It's still a C tier, but I'm praying it gets better later on. Yoshi's Island is back, and it lets you have a faster runoff, A tier. Jungle Japes is back, but they ruin it by letting you swim. It goes from a good stage to one that requires effort to perish, but thankfully the water pushes you to the left, making it faster for the left side in particular, C tier. On it either has an easy run, fall, and run, or an annoying jump and run, C tier once again. Corneria did not get better. Same issues as before, but to a slightly lesser extent. I'm debating on putting this into B tier just to be nice, but honestly, C tier for Corneria is fine. Rainbow Cruise, more like Rainbow Snooze. Why does it take longer to die? It's still good. A tier. Green Greens spawns you on the edges outside the blocks. Thank you, Green Greens. A tier. Big Blue took a big fall as it takes more effort to die on the right side. The left side is good, but the RNG does not help its case. Also, the blast zones are farther away, C tier. Brinstar is back and the fall is fine, I guess, A tier. Pokemon Stadium is still a 2-platform stage before falling, B tier. Alright, now, these custom stages we're going to go through are packed with Brawl, so yes, we're going to be ranking these as well. And no, we will not be ranking random custom stages later on, those don't really matter at all. These come with Smash Bros. Brawl. Sample L Maze is not good. It's large, and it means you have to run a ways away to die. C tier. Sample M Bath has a good spawn and a bad spawn, but both take time to leave the tub. C tier. Sample S Hole has a hole that you should avoid. Just run left or right. The fall is somewhat long though. B tier. Smash 4, specifically Smash 4 the Wii U, is finally here, which means we should be almost done, right? Oh no. We're going to speed things up here. Battlefield, spawn on the platform, same as before, but with a new coat of paint. A tier. Big Battlefield, you hop down 3 platforms or jump a long ways to hop off. B tier. Final Destination. The final destination is down. A tier. Mushroom Kingdom U, spawn up high, bleh, B tier. Mario Galaxy, runoff takes a bit, A tier. Delfino Plaza, same as before, A tier. Mario Circuit, basically another Delfino, A tier. Mario Circuit from Brawl, good runoff, very fast, S tier. Luigi's Mansion is a copy and paste job, A tier. Jungle Hijinks, the spawn dictates how long it will take, but it's not that bad, B tier. Congo Jungle 64, the freaking barrel makes it so you have to jump or launch yourself out of the barrel if you spawn on the left side. This went from a great option to a potential time waster, C tier. Skyloft is a Delfino clone, but you spawn in closer to the middle, B tier. Bridge of Eldin is the same, B tier. Temple, oh Temple. You never learn, do you? Same as Brawl, C tier. Pyrosphere. Ridley is cool, but you'll never see him show up. The fall is long, B tier. Norfair is back, and it's just as fair as before. The sides or lava are both good options, but it takes a bit to get to either. B tier. Port Town Aerodive still sucks. C tier. Woolly World is a comfy runoff, just like Mario Circuit from Brawl. S tier. Yoshi's Island is a repeat. A tier. The Great Cave Offensive is horrible, but not as bad as you might think. If you spawn on the left, you just need to book it. But if you spawn on the right, you have 2 options. Jump above the lava on the right, or drop down the platform and run away. Really? The RNG really screws you up here? No. Seriously, I had to come to this stage at least 20 times before it gave me a single time to go on the left. Also, even if you do spawn on the left, the run takes a bit of time regardless. D tier. Halberd, no difference. A tier. Orbital Gate Assault is not an assault on the senses. This is a better corn area since you spawn closer to the edges, and the blast zone is closer on both sides. It still takes a bit of time or effort on the left, however, so it's going to get a B tier. Lilac Ruse, please stop spawning me on the platforms. I'm mad, I'm giving this version a B tier. Nothing is different, I'm just mad. Kalos Pokemon League is in a league of its own for SDing. Wait, no it's not. A tier. Pokemon Stadium 2 has nothing left to offer. B tier. On it. Please stop. Please. I don't want to do this anymore. C tier. Coliseum. A decent runoff. A tier. Castle Siege remains the same. B tier. Flat Zone X is the cooler, easier to die on Flat Zone when compared to Brawl. It's an S tier. Palutena's Temple is so similar to the Legend of Zelda Temple that it makes me sick. If you're on the left, it takes more effort. If you're on the right, you still have to jump to make it to the closer side blast zone. Nintendo, please stop making temples where it's difficult for me to die! D tier. Skyworld. Pit has not made any changes here. B tier. Gamer. A short run to drop. Gotta test the fall damage here. A tier. Garden of Hope. I thought this would be simple, but you can trigger a wall jump on this platform here on the right extremely easily if you're fast falling and holding right, whereas running on top and then dropping is easier. Then the left side will make you grab the platform. Horrible design for losing stocks, C tier. Town and City in Smashville are the same. You spawn, you jump off. The blast zone and run aren't bad for either, and I still hate these stages, A tier. Wii Fit Studio is similar to Mario Circuit from Brawl, but it's more boring. S tier, but I wouldn't choose it. Boxing ring. I don't know why this glitch appeared, but the runoff requires one jump at least. C tier. Gower Plain is huge, but the runoff isn't terrible. I hope Shulk can predict this game-changing play. B tier. Duck Hunt is a nice short drop to the bottom. A tier. 75M is back, and it's ditched the runoff on the right side. The left is incredibly fast, but the right is slow by comparison. B tier. Wrecking Crew is not a fun stage. Good thing it's easy to wreck your stock. A tier. Pilot Wings looks high up, but it's actually not bad at all. A tier. Woohoo Island is Pilot Wings if it made the blast zone farther down for no reason. A tier. Windy Hill Zone. Surprisingly a decent option at first glance, however, if you're playing a floatier character and you hold right a bit too much, you'll bounce off the springs. But if you're Captain Falcon, you can use the springs to die much more quickly on the right side specifically. I'm giving it a C tier, as user error can make it worse, especially if you're not paying attention, but realistically, if you are focused on your task, it's not the worst C tier by a large margin. Actually, I'm going to put it in B tier now that I think about it. Wily Castle has the yellow demon which never appears because the real demon was inside you all along. A tier. Pac-Land is prone to SDs. In this case, you can run before the stage starts moving to make it extremely fast. S tier with the added bonus that you don't have to touch your controller to die, although this is not the best stage to idle on to die as it takes 12 seconds, it's just a nice little bonus. Dreamland 64 is back and they ruined it by having you spawn on the platforms. B tier. Suzaku Castle is great if you're on the right, but is tedious on the left. B tier. Miiverse is just like Dreamland 64, except that when this game was the new Smash Bros. Game, it could potentially scar you for life. B tier for the platforms, S tier for the memes. Peach's Castle 64 has this annoying bridge on the bottom, still, where if you try and jump down too quickly, you can grab or land on the bridge on the right, and if you spawn on the left, you have a fairly high platform to fall from if you run, and if you drop down, you grab the bridge. C tier. Hyrule Castle 64 is the same as the original. B tier. Super Mario Maker is very RNG dependent. Sometimes you'll get a platform blocking you, or there's no pit to fall into easily, or you spawn up high but it's a straight drop down. C tier. Too much randomness. Pirate Ship is back, and it's the same as Brawl. C tier. The water here sucks. I originally wanted to put this into D tier, but I have to restrain myself. Midgar is a Battlefield clone for SDing. B tier. Umbral Clock Tower is a Final Destination clone, but you spawn slightly close to the edge. A tier. Wait, are you kidding me? 3DS doesn't even have any intro music? This is it? This sucks. At this point, there are clearly repeat stages. As such, if a stage is repeated and nothing is noticeably different about it, then I'm skipping it. This applies to Ultimate as well. This will save your sanity as well as mine, and even though I still went SD'd on every single stage regardless, just to make sure, you're welcome. 3D Land is deceptively complex. So you think you could just run right if you spawn there, but there's terrain that will block you if you're on the ground. If you're on the left, just run left. C tier. Golden Plains. You can just run right or left with relative ease, and the blast zone is very close. A tier. Rainbow Road is Port Town Aerodive if it didn't stop you from falling into space. A tier. Paper Mario has a good runoff on the right with a longer fall, and a longer runoff on the left with a shorter fall. B tier. Jungle Japes on the 3DS does not let you swim, which brings it back to being a great map to die on. A tier. Gerudo Valley is a runoff on either the right or left side. It's similar to Flat Zone. S tier. Spirit Train is really, really bad. You try to become a spirit, but it just won't let you do so easily. If you spawn left and you try and go that way, you might get sucked into the train if you land on the tracks, if you don't go far enough. And if you spawn right, you have to jump and get whisked away by the tracks to make it easy for you. C tier. Dreamland on the Game Boy is very green. It's also the closest copy to Flat Zone on the 3DS. S tier. Unova Pokemon League is Battlefield if you spawn on the bottom platform. A tier. Prism Tower is another runoff stage, but it takes longer. A tier. Mute City is cool here, but it has the same the floor is the lava problem, meaning you have to exert effort to get run over by the sidecars. C tier, since the blast zone isn't too far, but it still mess you up. Magicant is beautiful. Too bad you spawn up too high. B tier. Arena Ferox is not fair at all, unless you want to die, in which case, it's great. A tier. Flat Zone 2 is getting a mention for being a super short runoff again. S tier. I love you, Flat Zone. Reset Bomb Forest has a very high up blast zone and spawns you on the bottom platforms. You can run right for either spawn, and let me just say, you shouldn't underestimate the ability to turn your brain off on stages like this. A tier. Tortimer Island has a long runoff, but thankfully you can't swim. Either dying on the sides or falling down is a good option, and there is some randomness, mostly with the bridge spawns, but nothing that hinders your ability to drown. B tier. Balloon Fight fails to alleviate my spirits. You cannot run off the sides. You can jump in the water, but the fish will grab you, and it takes a while for it to kill you. So you either need to cause self-damage out of bounds, or you need to jump in the water and wait for your demise. D tier. Living Room has a cute puppy that's made out of 10 polygons in the background. It's a runoff to pet the dogs. A tier. Find Me is a map that appears to let you turn your brain off with either spawn point since there's this pit in the middle, so running left should be viable, right? Well, unfortunately, you can accidentally grab the ledge on the left if you don't fast fall in time. I'm putting in A tier, but it could be an arguable B tier. Tomodachi Life either spawns you on the very top of this hotel or on the very bottom. There is no middle ground. B tier for randomness. Pac Maze has a fun RNG element where ghosts spawn. Unfortunately, these ghosts prevent me from being a ghost sometimes. B tier. Oh, and just so you know, the DLC stages are all the same, so we're not going to cover them again. Again, we're just going to skip over all of the stages that are the same, or so similar that there's nothing that changes their ranking, which is a lot. I still went through and tested every single stage like I mentioned before, but now you don't have to suffer like I did. Rainbow Cruise has now decided the second spawn point should be on the innermost part of the ship, meaning it now is a dice roll on how easy it will be to SD, and you can't run past players in this Smash Bros. B tier. Jungle Japes lets you swim again. C tier. Great Bay now has a lot of problems. For one, you can swim, and two, you could spawn on the right side, which means you need to run across the giant turtle. Either option makes this a longer one to SD on. C tier. Green Greens is back to being stupid by placing you on the upper platforms. It's not the worst spot, but you have to outrun the blocks that fall. B tier. Mushroom Kingdom 2 has a blast zone that's further down now. A tier. Big Blue is now worse. Car spawns are randomized, and the left side is now a jump to the edge game instead of a drop down and zip away game. C tier. Foreside gets a buff since you can run left with either spawn. A tier. New Pork City gets a buff with the right spawn where it spawns you significantly closer to the pit, and the left spawn gets a slight nerf, but it's not too terrible. C tier. Mario Bros gets a huge nerf. When you move to the right or left without taking damage, you simply teleport to the other side. The only way to die is to take self-damage while in the blast zone, or get hurt by the crawling critters on the ground. This is now one of the worst SD maps in the entire series, but I can confidently say there is one map that is worse. F tier. The Great Cave Offensive now has a minor buff and nerf. You now start under the platform on the right side and need to jump up and run to the right. And you now have to drop and run on the left. Overall though, it is better. C tier. Windy Hill Zone Springs are now harder to avoid jumping up with, but this barely makes a difference. B tier. Wily's Castle now has platforms that pop up, so if you try running off to the right, these platforms are likely to catch you. It throws off your rhythm, and if you're like me, you might stand on the platform for a while because you thought you should die, so you begin taking notes, but you're still alive and now you have to drop it down a tier or two. B tier. Since you'll die regardless of this happening, consider the platform descends. New Donk City Hall features a wonderful skyscraper backdrop as you rush to your demise. A tier. Great Plateau Tower. Another bottom platform spawning ripoff. A tier. Moray Towers typically doesn't have any casualties. I'm about to change that statistic. This is a B tier hazard. It spawns you too high up. Dracula's Tower takes some of the annoying spawns where you have to jump up before you run off, and it says, "What if both spawns were like this?" Thanks, Dracula. You're making it difficult for me to join your horde. C tier. Mementos is a beautiful stage to die on. This is just a revamped battlefield in terms of drop distance. A tier. Yggdrasil's Altar has a new sacrifice. Me! It's a double platform drop down. B tier. Spiral Mountain is a huge up spiral to my downfall. A tier. The jutting ledge on the right doesn't pose any issues. King of Fighter Stadium is by far the worst stage I have ever witnessed. If you go into the stage without the ability to cause self-damage, or if you can't die high up vertically, there is nothing worse than this stage. Wander into here with a level 1 CPU and you may as well just play the game. This goes into a special tier of its own. Keep yourself safe tier. Garrig Mach Monastery, which is a map I'm not going to care about if I say it right or not, has you jump up on either spawn to escape. Easy C tier, get me out of here. Spring Stadium springs me away from the center and straight into the blast zone. It's just like Final Destination, A tier. Minecraft World is randomized, meaning sometimes you get an easy fast fall death, and sometimes you get stuck behind a tree. B tier due to randomness, because most of the time you're not going to get stuck in a tree. Northern Cave is yet another Final Destination with side platforms that don't matter. A tier. Cloud Sea of All Rest is a pretty drop down. The elevation of bolt spawns barely makes a difference here. A tier. Mishime Dojo, aka Shadow Moses Island 2. This one takes less hits, but wow. I didn't even know you could do that on this stage. Then again, I haven't played the DLC stages that much, so F tier. Takes too much effort. The Hollow Bastion, the final stage of the series. There are no more after this. Surely, this one has to be incredible. Mind-blowing. It just has to be... Oh. It's Final Destination with the middle platform. Awesome. A tier. So there we have it. A tier list of every single stage in Smash Bros. And how easy it is to SD on them. But wait, I hear you asking. What stage is the best? Well, we have to first decide which Smash game allows you to SD the easiest. Alright, let's break this down. Smash 64 has the fewest number of stages, and it remembers your spot when you finish your match, meaning that if you want to go back to the same stage to SD over and over and over, it is one of the fastest options in the Smash Bros. Series. Smash Bros. Melee has more stages, and it doesn't remember your spot when you go to select something, so admittedly, not as good, but at least doesn't have as many stages as the next one. Brawl has a lot of stages to choose from, it has multiple tabs, and honestly, this is the worst Smash Bros. To queue up on for SDs. Smash 4 is the same for both Wii U and 3DS, it saves your stage, and it has a pretty sizable amount of stages to choose from. It does have one extra tab just so you can get to the DLC stages. It's at least better than Melee and Brawl. Finally, there's Ultimate, which has the most amount of stages possible. It does save your spot for them, but it does not save your spot for your character, which means you have to reselect your character every single time after you choose the stage. This is pretty annoying, however, Ultimate does have one major advantage over every other Smash Bros. In fact, it is so major, I'm willing to put this in the #1 spot. Basically, in Ultimate, with a little prep, you can set your games to be first to 5, where each match in that first to 5 counts as an individual match when it comes to your stats. Meaning that this is the fastest way to SD out of the entire series, because you don't have to go back and press start for each screen in order to play the game. With all of this in mind, here are the rankings. At #1 spot we have Smash Ultimate, #2 is Smash 64, then in third we have Smash 4, both of them, kind of ironic. Melee is in the 4th spot, and Brawl is in 5th place. Now, what is the best and worst stage for each game? Let's go in order. The worst stage for Smash 64 is Planet Zeb's, due to the stage preventing you from falling to your demise and the extremely wide blast zones. The best stage for Smash 64 is Yoshi's Story, for starting you relatively close to the edge and having a blast zone that is extremely close to the bottom platform where you start. The worst stage for Melee is Green Greens. Admittedly, the blocks being random and the fact they can drop on you as you try to escape can be annoying, but honestly, Melee doesn't have any really bad standout stages for SDs. The best stage for Melee is Flat Zone. One could argue that Mushroom Kingdom 2 is just as good, but the Blast Zone is so close in Flat Zone that deserves the prize since you only need to have one input for maximum speed. The worst stage for Brawl is Shadow Moses Island. The fact you have to destroy the stage to leave makes this one pretty terrible. The best stage for Brawl is Rumble Falls due to the close blast zones and the fact the stage will kill you if you don't want to input anything at all. The worst stage for Smash 4 is the Great Cave Offensive, and you may be wondering why this is compared to something like Palatine's Temple, which has a terrible left run and a pretty terrible jump for a right SD, and the reasoning is pretty simple. See, At first glance, both the stages seem to have similar issues, being long runoffs or confusing layouts, but if you're playing Palutena's Temple, it's extremely obvious what you need to do to SD on these stages as a first time player, whereas if you're trying to SD on the Great Cave Offensive, you spawn and you don't even know where the exits are except for the one all the way on the left spawn. So you jump down and you have to figure out, okay, there's a platform to the right, or you can jump all the way down, or you can just burn alive by the lava. I mean, this place is confusing. Most people don't even know about the way to SD off the top right, because why would they? You would just go and sit in the lava instead. And even then, it's not optimal. The stage, it's mostly just a hatred thing at this point, I'm going to be honest. But I hate this stage. I like Palutena's Temple a little bit more, and I'm willing to admit that. But honestly, just trying to figure this stuff out when you first start playing this game and you want to SD to unlock characters because you're probably looking up a guide online, this is one of the worst stages. Rant over. The best stage for Smash 4 on the Wii U is Mario Circuit Brawl for its close runoff and lack of better competition. The worst stage for Smash 4 on the 3DS is Balloon Fight for having one viable SD method that takes a while to kill you. The best stage for Smash 4 on the 3DS is Flat Zone 2. You already know why. The worst stage for Smash Ultimate, and consequently the worst stage to SD on in all of Smash Bros, is King of Fighter Stadium, since you cannot run off the stage and you have to take self-damage in the top last zone to die quickly. Otherwise, you have to take enough damage to get launched out of the arena, in which case, again, it's probably better to just die off the top last zone. And if all of this is not terrible enough, you may as well just play the game, because it's easier to knock out a level 1 CPU than it is to harm yourself. Now for the best stage in Smash Ultimate, and consequently the best stage in all of Smash Brothers to SD on, there's actually a two-way tie. See, originally I was going to set it as Reset Bomb Forest, because all you have to do is hold right on the joystick, and you will be able to fall into the pit for 5 matches without any consequences. However, when I began doing more testing on the stages that were lazy viable, aka just holding the right joystick or paying very little attention to the game, I realized, 1, there are some stages that get a pretty big buff with this, and 2, it's not fair to just assign it to one of these stages, because admittedly, there is a far superior stage if you want to be fast rather than lazy. So, here's the breakdown. Basically, Reset Bomb Forest, while it seems like the ultimate contender for the top #1 spot, does not pass because of one specific problem. See, there are some characters in Smash Brothers that started from Brawl that are able to cling to walls. And you know what happens when you hold right and you try to fall into the pit with Reset Bomb Forest? Yeah, you cling to a wall. How many fires does this affect? 6. Here they are. Does it matter? Yes, because what if you want to SD with these characters specifically? Well, now your options are more limited if you want to do the lazy method. However, there is a perfectly good, viable alternative to Reset Bomb Forest that is better specifically for wall clingers, and at most will have a deviation of about 1 second for the first to 5 game rule method. Basically, if you go to hand and bow and hold right or left, it does not matter, you have a guaranteed no wall to cling to fall off that is slightly longer than Reset Bomb Forest, but again, you're doing this to be lazy, not to be the most efficient person in all of existence to SD. However, if you don't want to be lazy and you want to focus on the game, do the first to 5 method and pick the one, the only, yes, that's right, Flat Zone X. Give it up for Flat Zone X, everybody. Oh, you gotta love it. Oh, it's always, oh yeah, this is the fastest way to SD in this game, period. There's nothing that comes close. It is so insanely fast. Game & Watch should be proud. I hate you in Smash Ultimate, but you know what? I don't care. Your stage is wonderful to commit seppuku on. So if you want to go heat up some popcorn in the microwave while you SD, go ahead and put yourself on hand and bow. I'm also promoting that stage to S tier specifically with Smash Ultimate. And if you want to be a speedster, go ahead and go to Flat Zone 2. Gosh dang, it's Flat Zone X! Well, gamers, that's it. That's all of the stages in Smash Bros. Every single one. if you can't tell, this is my first time doing one of these projects, and you probably notice there's some audio clips that sound a little bit different. Basically, I've been adjusting microphone settings, blah, 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 all that boring YouTuber stuff. But if you want to see more like this from me in the future, first off, brush your teeth, or I'm going to make you spend eternity within Smash Bros. SDing on stages. And second, you should go ahead and subscribe and like the video. Oh, and feel free to comment what you feel like is the best stage to SD on in Smash Bros. Don't worry, I won't get offended. I mean, a lot of this is subjective anyways. I literally made Midgar worse than Battlefield because I like Battlefield more. Oh, and if you think Zeebs is a great stage to SD on quickly, you should keep that to yourself. Bye!